Ryan, what's on your radar?
In 2003, Letitia James, who goes by Tish, took on the New York Democratic political establishment by running for city council not as a Democrat, but as the nominee of the Working Families Party. The WFP in New York can team up on ballot lines with Democrats in what's known as a fusion system, but James didn't do that. She ran solo on the WFP line, and in a first for the party, she won. She spent the next 15 years as an outspoken, independent-minded progressive and a leading voice for the city's social movements. In 2013, despite being vastly outspent, she won a tight race for New York City Public Advocate, a stepping stone to mayor. New York politicos often talked about how her grassroots base of support was a huge advantage, but her lack of big money backing from the city's power players would make it hard to compete at a higher level. When New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman was forced to resign amid a Me Too scandal in 2018, James was quickly discussed as a potential successor. But the question was, could she raise the big money she'd need? That's where Andrew Cuomo came in. Governor Cuomo was in the midst of a long-running feud with the Working Families Party, which had endorsed activist and actor Cynthia Nixon in a Democratic primary over Cuomo that April, and he vowed to destroy the organization. So in May, Cuomo made James an ethically excruciating offer. He told her he would endorse her and open his donor network to her, but it would come at a price. Not only would she have to endorse him, but she would also have to publicly refuse the support of the WFP. It was like some gangland ritual where to become a made man, you have to prove your loyalty by pistol whipping your best friend in front of your new comrades. So James was left with two bad options. Accept Cuomo's offer and you're likely to win the election, but it would come with the accusation that you had traded in your trademark independence and social justice values. And those charges would be fair. Reject the offer, and it could cost you the election and make Cuomo into an eternal enemy. James took the deal, and she renounced the WFP endorsement. She won the election, and she became New York Attorney General. But Cuomo got a bit more than he bargained for. In late January, she released a damning report on the state's handling of COVID-19 in nursing homes, setting off Cuomo's dissent. And then when Cuomo was besieged by allegations of sexual harassment, he tried to punt to an investigation he wanted conducted by a judge he had appointed to several different positions. Public pressure made that untenable, and he had no choice but to allow James to conduct her own investigation. You can think whatever you want about James for accepting that deal with the devil, but imagine how she must have felt at being given the opportunity to conduct that investigation. She could do what the judge was probably planning to do, which is whitewash the whole thing and keep rising up the ranks. Or she could conduct a real investigation. Back in March, when all this unfolded, I pointed out this dynamic in a piece at The Intercept. At the time, it looked like James had a chance to both prove her independence and get her revenge. And she very much took that opportunity. The report she published yesterday was chock full of so much damning detail that within hours the president had called on Cuomo to resign. Cuomo, for now, is vowing to stick it out. But normally, when you make a deal with the devil, it never ends well. This time, the devil seems to have gotten his due. Kim, what do you think about James's handling of this entire situation?
I mean, good on her, right? To take that. I mean, obviously, the deal for her was also one that was very challenging to have to make with Andrew Cuomo, but definitely an opportunity. And she's really taken that opportunity. Now, a lot of people are asking the question right now of why isn't she then going to maybe, with this report being released, is she going to be pressing charges or anything of that sort? And that's not something that I believe is even in her power to do. Without Andrew Cuomo, I think would have to actually extend her power more, which is not likely right now, right? Given that everything has happened. But I mean, it is true. When you make a deal with someone that is your adversary, you can't expect them to then become your best friend.
Right, and it's I don't know if you watch Billions, but it felt covering it at the time, it felt like something out of a bad script from Billions, right. where it's such a blunt offer, and also just completely gratuitous. Like there was no need, for Tish James to renounce the WFP in order to. In fact, it hurt her the chances of winning the race for Attorney General, but she was willing to do it in order, to keep Cuomo on her side. And so, Cuomo must have felt powerful in that moment. He must have felt like he'd really turned the screws on the WFP, and he'd really put Tish James in her place. But it does go to show that you can't be you can't kind of out clever life, and that the person on the other side of this deal has their own agency too. And I just can't imagine the amount of animosity he created within her by using her as a pawn in his game that he was playing with the WFP.
Well, she got him back.
Yeah, she sure did. She sure did. And if you're going to do that to the Attorney General, maybe don't break laws, over the course of your governorship and wind up where he is now.
Yeah, good idea. Just in general, I think.
Yeah, good advice for everybody out there listening. And Team Rising joins us next.